The membership of different carnival groups in Bahia has always been very class-specific. The rich generally affiliated to private clubs who simply refused black participation, although some did condescend to hiring black security guards and musicians. Many migrants returned north from Rio in the 40s, 50s and 60s and brought the samba school tradition with them. Two of the more well-known samba schools in Bahia during the 60s and 70s were the Hichimistas and the Diplomatas. While both were popular samba schools, everything about them was different. Carnival groups have always depended on patronage. Traditionally, band rehearsals would always happen in a patron's yard. Materials for costumes and instruments would be acquired by patrons. The richer, more elite schools such as the Diplomats were the dependent schools financed by the rich who thought it a small price to pay to keep their workforce quiet for the rest of the year. They would put on the grandest of parades, buying expensive material from Rio, and hiring musicians in a desperate bid to win the accolades in the centre of town. The poorer, more autonomous schools, like the Hichimistas, rhythm makers, were organised by local people with knowledge and understanding of samba and carnival traditions. The conflict between the dependent and the autonomous is a recurring theme in Brazilian carnival, and nowhere more so than in Bahia. Would traditionally be patronised by the upper classes, reinforcing the control exercised by the state, albeit through their agents, over popular expressions. The rich benefactor has since been replaced directly by the state in the form of the tourist and information boards. The way it works is very straightforward. The patrons arrange for a rehearsal site, perhaps on his land, perhaps in an army barracks nearby. The costumes, or at least the material, might well be specially ordered from Rio, and in return, the people will toe the line. A poorer bloco would have open rehearsals, often visiting different neighbourhoods. They relied on their own resources. They were very popular and often more militant, as no one was pulling their purse strings. Many such blocos were often prevented by the police from going to the city centre, or simply disqualified for not playing by the rules. Restrictions imposed on carnival groups included the adherence to a federal law dating from the 1930s, declaring that all carnival themes should deal with an aspect of national history. In Bahia, these sambas de enredo were often about the Casa Grande, the master's house, portraying a healthy master-slave relationship, or emancipation, with gracious overtones made to Queen Isabella, or Brazilian independence. Prizes were awarded according to the degree of conformity to which the samba school would adhere, and any attempt to stray beyond the given boundaries would incur disqualification. The poorer blocos encouraged public participation in their parades, with musicians, dancers and revellers celebrating as one to the samba no asfalto, street samba. The richer ones marched in regimented order, displaying their magnificent costumes and soloists. The street sambistas called it samba no palanque, stage samba. Subsequently, blocos like the Hichimistas took to celebrating carnival in the neighbourhoods where they lived. By the late 1970s, the richer samba schools, surviving by satisfying the whims of their patrons, had little popular support, while the popular schools had no money. The Afoché, essentially a candomblé carnival manifestation, were eventually withdrawn by Candomblé the institution, as it felt that too much was being revealed in an increasingly cosmopolitan carnival. Blocos de Índio were also very popular, especially with the young, but again they were terrorized by the police. In 1977, the Apaches de Tororo were attacked by the police on the pretext that they were armed. They were carrying carnival tomahawks. Every year, a new dance is popularized. This year, it was the Mike Tyson. Moves consist of jabbing, blocking, and bobbing and weaving. The Blocos Afros, or Afro Blocks, are the popular urban manifestation of black music in Brazil. Their coming coincided with a new expression of black consciousness in Brazil in the late 1970s, early 80s, when for the first time in Brazil's history, black people were openly expressing pride for all things African, including the role of Africans in the development of Brazil.
Treva da Silva.